I believe you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen. I can see your screen.
Okay, no problem. Okay, can you briefly explain what you learned on our last class?
Okay, so we looked at membership of a string, and then you explained to us, like in layman terms, what membership of a string is. Then we also talked about how, well, I say how you list a string. For example, now you used welcome. So in that welcome, we allowed each of those like letters to be a string inside the string. So the welcome, the W was having its own like bracket, its own quotation. Then we looked at clear and delete, the difference between clear and delete. We looked at method and functions, and how method is like a type of function but works within a particular class. So those were like the basics we looked at.
Okay,
Hello?
that
Yeah.
was, I don't know if that was all we learned.
We looked at a lot of things actually. So
Okay, thank you for your brief explanation and the brief summary of what we learned on the last class. So today we are going to talk about tuples. So tuples in Python, tuples are similar to lists. They are similar to lists. Okay, so except that the object, except that the objects in tuple are immutable. They are immutable, which means we cannot change the element of a tuple once it has been assigned. Please take note, tuple are immutable. We cannot change, we cannot alter, you cannot alter it. So the next one is when we want to change the data over time, we when we want to change the data over time, tuple is a preferred data type. Is a preferred data type. So and tuple is fast compare compared to list, although tuple is immutable. And there are some reasons why Python was created, and this topic called tuple was attached to Python because of some reasons. So we go further to see why Python is why tuple is mutable, and we are going to see how we can create tuple. So let's see how we can create tuple. So now when we want to create tuple, we use the normal bracket. The normal bracket. Remember when we created list, we use the square bracket, right? Hello,
I can hear you. I can hear you. I'm listening to you.
good. We use the square bracket in creating list. So when we want to create tuple, we are going to use the normal bracket. So let's move on. So we are going to see how we can create some examples of tuples. Now let me create an empty tuple. empty tuple. So we are going to create empty tuple. So I'm going to name the variable called, okay, let me give it a title. Sorry, let me give it a title. The title of today's class is tuples. Now, so we are going to create our variable name called tuple. Let's say tuple one. Then we are going to assign it to a to our normal bracket. So this normal bracket, once we declared it, it will be recognized. So let's check the type. Let's check the type. Let's say print. Remember how we can check for type. Now we'll call out our tuple. So now, so let's see. Did you see? Our class is what? Tuple. So this is how we can create tuple. So let's move further. Now let's insert some integers. Now let's insert some integers. So I want you to know that you can insert integer, you can insert float, string. Also, you can nested. You can perform some nested tuple. You can also perform nested list. Please take note. You can perform nested tuple, nested uh, list. Okay. So let's see. Let's see. Let's create. Let's insert some values. So we are going to name this two, and we are going to insert, let's say 10, and 10 and 40 and 19. So this is our integer. Good. Now let's see our output. Our output should be this. Now let's see is this. Now this is our tuple. So let's look how we can create nested tuple. So let me copy this. We are going to create nested tuple. So now inside this nested tuple, see what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a string. Let's say I'll call it one, and I will insert something like 25. Then I'll bracket this. Okay, good. Now I will separate it again, and I will add what another integers value. So let's say 45, 90. Okay, good. Now these are nested what? Tuple. So we have already nested the tuple. So I want you to know that you can also perform nested what? Nested lists. Okay. So let me run this. Now, please, I want you to take note of this. I want you to take note of this. We are going to see how we can access what? Our nested tuple, our nested list. Okay. So what's wrong? Okay, now I did not separate it with comma. So you have to separate the value with comma. So now this is it. It has run. So now, so let's see the results of what we have done so far. Two. So good. Now let's see if we can what? Index. Now we want to index. Let's index the first item. Now let's index. We are going to use our normal indexing method. So now let's index. Now let's index with 0. Now, did you see we index with 0? We index with 0 and it gave us 1. Now, let's see how we can index a nested what? Tuple. Now, when we want to index a nested tuple, first of all, let us see how we can index what? A nested tuple. Since we have, okay, let me create a new tab. Okay, let me use this. Now, since we have, we can access 0 with 1. Remember, we can access 25 with, we can access 1 with 0, 25 with 1, and all this with what? 2, with what? 2, and this with 3. Now, when we want to index the item here, we are going to do it like this. Now, let's see something. Let's index it with what? 3, with 2. Let's see. Now, did you see we can access this item with 2? We can access it with what? 2. Now, who can tell me how can I access just 10? Just this 10. I want your response. If you can, just try. If you can. Is there anyone who wants to try?
I think you index the index of it.
Okay.
You,
Like, how
you
am I
index the
going to?
index. So I'm looking
Okay,
at
how
you
am I?
use the square bracket and then you use normal brackets inside it.
Uh, okay, okay. Teach me now. Okay. So let me open a new code. Now teach me. So we'll call the tuple tuple two. Then, so what am I going to do again? I will index it. Then what?
I was thinking you now put like bracket of you put the
Okay,
normal index too.
okay,
Then open a bracket and put 01. Put 2 again inside.
Did you see? It gave us what? Wrong. Wrong. Error. I think he said the type error is wrong and int object is not callable. So the answer is wrong. So who can try? Assumpta, can you try?
What if we use square bracket and square bracket?
Okay, square bracket, okay, and what?
Square brackets of 2. So instead of using the normal parenthesis, we use brackets, square brackets of 2. Yes, like this.
Look at look at it. Error, not subscriptable. Who can try? Who can try? Assumpta, can you try? Assumpta, is Assumpta in class? Okay. I think it's okay. Good. Now look at it. First of all, when you want to access an item in a tuple, in a list or in a tuple, please take note. Even in a list, you can still access it the same way. Since you have gotten the first index, now you have to create another square bracket again, okay, but not inside the square bracket, on its own. Then you insert the position of the nested value you want to get. Look at it. So you are almost correct, though, but it's wrong. Are you seeing it?
Yes, I
Did you
can.
see it?
I see it.
Did you see the output? 10. This is how
Okay,
I
yeah.
assess
So it's not.
what. This is how I
Okay.
assess it.
Okay, I get.
So let's move on. Let's move on. So I believe. Okay, now how can we assess what 45? Can you try?
But five is going to three. Three. Then you use the bracket zero.
Okay, good, good, nice one. Now here becomes what? 3. And here becomes, yeah, you are correct. Nice one. Let's move on. So now we have seen how we can index. Now we can slice. We can what? We can slice. Remember we talked about slicing. We can slice. We can slice. Now let's see how we can slice. So now let me copy this. So let me copy this. We are going to copy it and we are going to paste it here and we are going to call it what? 3. So since we have gotten our 3, let's slice. Now we want to slice what? This item out of this box. Now let's look how we can slice it. Now let's say tuple. Now tuple what? 3. Now this tuple 3, we are going to what? Slice it from what? From let's say okay, now let's slice it 0, 1, 2, and 3. Let's say 0, 2 to 3. Let's say 2 to 3, 2 to 3. Let's see the output. Good, good. Okay, now let's move it to 4. Now, good. This is our method of slicing, and also you can slice out. Now, let's see how we can what slice out just 10. 10. So let's see how we can slice out 10. Who can try? Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. So I want you to research on this, how you can slice in a nested tuple. So you can do the research on your own. So this is your assignment. Now let's look at on how we can what remove and change of an item. Remember in list, we use the del to delete. We use the what? The del to delete. Now in tuple, you cannot delete, you cannot change. So let's see the examples why we cannot delete or we cannot what? Change. So you are going to see the examples. Now uh, okay, now let's delete this. Let's delete our index. Let's say tuple 3 and square bracket. Let's say 0. Now let's see if we can use the del. Now when I run it, you will see an error message, and this is the error message. It said what? tuple object does not what support deletion. I believe you can see it. Tuple object does not what support deletion. So you cannot delete in a tuple. You cannot what delete in a tuple. So let's move on. Now let's look at how we can what change. Let's see if we can change any item. Now let's copy this. Now let's look if we can change an item. So let's see if we can assign it to what a new value. Let's say 4. Let's say 4 and run. You see, look at the result. It said what? Tuple object does not support item assignment. So you cannot assign a tuple, you cannot delete a tuple. So you can look through. Remember in our list, we look at on how we can look through. You can look through when we talk about for I in my list, then print I. Remember that. So now if we want to look through, we can say for I in what, let's say our tuple, let's say our tuple 3. For I in what tuple 3, print I. You can look through, you can emulate, you can what emulate in Python. So now let's see how we can count. Still the same way, you can perform counting, you can what let's see if we can count. I'm coming. Okay, let's declare a new variable called uh, variable 4. And now, now we are going to add some new values.
I can't hear you, sir. I don't know.
So we are going to say to perform what dot what count. So now let's count. Hello guys, can you hear me?
I just started hearing you now. I think the network from your side it's tripped for a while.
Okay. Now let's count. Now let's say to perform to perform dot what count. Let's say count. Now let's count 9. 9 and see. Let's see our results. 0. Okay, now sorry, it's because I wrote it in a string. Now let me remove the string. Let's count. Now look at it. When we perform the count, it counted 9 as what 4. So you can perform some counts and you can look for a membership. I remember I remember I taught you membership was of a string, right? Of a list. You can check
Yes,
for a
yes.
membership. So still the same way you can check for what, for membership of a list, you can perform some membership in a tuple. So how can you check for membership in a list? How can you check for a membership? Do you remember?
So I really, I think you there's a, is it quiz dot list, something quiz dot list. Then you, then the
We
name
talk,
assigned to the variable or something like that, to the string.
we talked about in. Remember in, when we
Yeah.
declare what, we declare one, we say in what the variable name, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So that's how you can check for a tuple. So let's see an example. Look at it. We can say 9. Let's check for 9 in what? Tuple 4. Now let's run. Yes, true. But if we check for what, a digit that is not in that list of item, it will say false. Look at it. So this is how you can perform some check or membership of a string. Now, now let's talk about tuple has a method called index. Now you can know the position of a particular index of an item. So let's see an example. If we want to check a particular index in a tuple or in a list of tuple, you can use the method index, then you call out what you want to check for the position. Okay, now let's see. Now let's see the examples. So let's check. We are going to attach dot what index. Now dot index, we are going to call out, let's see the position of 2 and run. Now did you see position of 2 is 1, because from the forward, we have 0, 1, 2. Okay, 0, 1. So it's 1. I believe you understand.
I'm getting it. Although, well, your voice is a bit cracking. Um,
So, okay, did you hear what I said?
I didn't really get it properly. But I'm trying to use
Okay,
my brain to get the concept.
okay, okay, look at it. We want to check for the position, the index number. Remember, in index, we talked about that we have the forward and the backward index, right?
Yes, yes. The
Now
forward and backward. Yes.
we want to know the index of tuple 4. So we want to know the index of 2. So tuple, um, tuple has a method called index. Then with the index, you can attach what you want to check for the position. So we declare a tuple dot index, then we look out for the index we want to check, the value we want to check is index. So we choose 2. Now let's see 2 index. When we run it, it gave us 1. Look at it. So this is the method in tuple. Then we pass in the parameter of this value 2. Then we want to check the position of these 2. Now the position of these 2 is 1, right? Because from the forward we have 0, 1, 2. So automatically this 2 is 1. Look at the position and it gave us 1. I believe this is not confusing.
I get it.
So let's move on. Now, we have checked for the position. We are going to see how we can what. So, remember we talked about sorting and sorted, right?
Yes, yes. We spoke about sorting and sorted.
So, you can perform some sorting and sorted. Okay, you can perform some sorting and sorted. You can ascend, you can descend. Okay, so I don't want to be repeating, that's why I'm trying to take you back to what you have learned before. So you can perform what, the sorting and the sorted. Now let's move on to a new topic called sect. We are going to a new topic called what, sect. Now, sect. Sect is what? Set is on order and uni-index collection of an item. So, set is unordered and uni-index collection of item. So, set elements are unique. Duplicates in a sect element are not allowed. So in sect, duplicate are not what? Allowed. Duplicate are not allowed. In sect, elements are mutable, immutable. You cannot what? Change. You cannot change. Okay, you cannot change, just like what, tuple. You cannot change. It does not accept a duplicate. So set itself is mutable. We can add, we can add, we can add and remove item from it. So the elements are immutable. So let's see some example of set, and let's see how we can create. Okay. If you have question, you can ask. Do you have any question to ask?
Not yet.
Okay. Now let's move on. Let's move on. Now, uh, so now let me write some statements of what I just said so that you guys will not be confused. So, one, I said set, set is what? Unordered, unordered, and uni what? Index collection of item. Now, two, now set is what? Set element are unique. They are what? Unique. Duplicate what? Duplicate elements duplicate elements are not allowed. So three, set elements are immutable. Brackets can not be changed. Okay, for let's say for set itself, its what self is mutable. We we can add or remove item from it. From what? From it. So good. Now these are just the explanation I have made so far. So you can go through it on our recorded section. So you can visit
Okay,
our
so
YouTube channel to go through it over again, look at it. You can go through the YouTube video to watch and get it right. Okay. Now let's see how we can what create a set. How we can what create a set. For us to create a set, so now this is where uh, the this explanation comes in. Now let's see this. Let's see this. Okay, let's say sect. Okay, my sect. I'm giving it a variable name. And now, if we want to create a set, we use what? Equaling braces. Now, the equaling braces you can use to create what? A sect. Now, this is a sect. This is what? A sect. And let's see the output. Let's say my sect. Now, my set, and this is my sect. Now, let's check for the type. Let's check for the type. You can as well as check for the length. Okay, let's check for the type. It will give us tuple. It will give us set, right? Yes, it will give us set. But what? See this. Look at it. It's set. But if nothing is inside here, okay. For example, let's see an example. So let's space it. If nothing is inside here, it will see it as what? Dictionary. It will see it as what? Dictionary. Let's run it. Did you see dic? It shows us that it's a dictionary. It's what? A dictionary. But when you insert value, automatically it becomes a sect. When you insert value, automatically it becomes what? A sect. So let's run. Did you see sect? So this is the uh the explanation, and most times it might look confusing. When you want to create a dictionary, you are also going to use a calling braces. But the dictionary comes with what? Keys and value. When we get to that part, you will see the difference between sect and what? Uh, and dictionary. So we have looked on dictionary, we have looked on dictionary. So I want you to know that I want you to know that you can. Okay, now at the beginning we talked that it does not accept duplicate. It does not what? Accept duplicate. Now let's see why it does not accept duplicate. Now look at it. Most times there is a purpose for that. You can use it for authentication. Okay, you can use it for verification when you are coding, when you are good in Python. you are into uh, some APIs and all. So you can use sect for your research, for your anything you want to use it for. So let's see it, and let's see it. Let's call this one. Now let's add a duplicate, 24 and 24. Now, did you see we have added what duplicate? Now, let's run it. Let's see our result. Now, let's see our result. Did you see there is no duplicate, right?
Yes, there's no duplicate. Yes,
There is
yes.
no duplicate. Does not accept duplicate. Now, let me run it again. Does not accept duplicate. So, let's move on. So, you can add what? A floating number, a string value in a set. You can add mixed data type. You can add what? Mixed data type. And you can what? Okay. And what? A set does not allow what? Mutable items. Okay, mutable item. Now, you cannot what? Add list. You cannot add, for example, you cannot add list inside a set. You cannot what? Add list inside a set. So let's see an example. Let's copy this and paste it. Now let's add list inside. Now let's add list. Okay, three. Okay. Now let's run and see our results. Did you see hashable type? We cannot add any other data type inside a sect. Inside what? A sect. So it's immutable, so you cannot add it. Now let's move. You can as well as looping through. For example, we talked about looping through in a string when we say that for I in what? My string, or I in my tuple, then print I. You can loop through. You can use the emulate for I in what? Emulate, then brackets, and your item you want to emulate, then you print your variable name called I. So you can emulate. You can check for membership. Remember we talked about membership in what? Tuple. So you can check for membership in what? In a sect. You can check for what? Membership in a sect. Now we can check for membership in a sect. So let's see. Now, in a tuple, we can add, we can insert, we can add, sorry, insert, we can add. There's a method called add in sect. So you can add. So do you have any question to ask before we move on?
No.
So I believe you guys are following.
Yes, 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 sir.
So let's move on. Now, let's see how we can add, how we can change, and how we can remove. Now let's copy this. Okay, let me paste this. Now we are going to name it as 3. Now let's add. There's a method called add. Now let's see how we can add an item. So let me copy this and we paste it here and we use the dot add. Then inside this dot add, we can add the value we want to add. Let's say 10. Now let's add it. Automatically it has been added. So let's see our value. So our 10 has been what? Added. Our 10 has been what? Added. So it has been what? Added. My network, sorry. Let's continue. So I believe how you saw how we added a new value, right? Right? Hello,
You what?
guys.
You said that what?
Did you see how I added the 10?
Yes, you should, but I think after a while your screen just froze. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. After
So
a while your
now
screen
this is
froze though.
okay, no problem. This is how you can add what? 10. This is how you can add 10. Now, let's see how we can update. There's a method called update in in sect. So we can update what in what in a sect. Now let's update. Now, when we want to update, when we want to update, we are going to update it like this. Okay, let's see how we can update. Okay, and let's update. We are going to update. We're going to use the word update, and we can update multiple values. And this, so now this is how we can update. Now we have already updated it, so I believe this is not confusing. We have updated it. Now let's see how we can what remove. We can remove in what? In a sect. We can remove in a sect. So let's see how we can remove in a set. Now, okay, now let's use the remove. Now we are going to what? Use remove, and we are going to what? Choose the particular item we want to remove. Let's say we want to remove 10. Now let's run it and good. Now let's see. Now 10 has been removed. 10 has been removed. So this is how you can remove. And also there's a word called discard. Discard. Discard remove item from a set using the what? Using the what or discard method. So let's discard an item. Now we can remove using the discard. Let's say this. Now let's discard. And this discard, let's discard 24. And 24 have been discarded. Now there's no 24 again. I hope this is clear to you guys. So do you have any question to ask?
Mm.
Hello.
Oh, no, no, no.
So we can clear as well. Remember we cleared in a string. So let's see how we can clear. Let's clear the sect 3. So we are going to say it's clear and run. Now run it. Now we have cleared it. We have what cleared it. So there's nothing like sect again. So now we can delete. Now let's delete. So let's delete my sect 3. We can say del my sect what 3. Now we have already deleted it. So let's see our sect 3. Paste. Now look at it. There's an error message, and this is the error message. What? They said that the name set Siri is not what defined. It's not what defined. So you can what set. So there's a method called copy. You can copy a particular set. You can what copy a particular set. Okay, for example, let's see copy. Let me teach you the two ways you can copy. Two ways you can copy. Okay, let's use this. Okay, let's paste it here. Now, this is our new set. Let's name it so 6 6. Now look at it and let's run it. Now, let's create a new. Now let's copy. Now let's create a new value. Let's say sect 7 is equal to my set 6. Now automatically you have what copy what is inside set 6 now to 7. Now let's see our set 7. Set 7. Oh, sorry, I did not run this. Now look at our set 7. Automatically look at it. This is our set 7. We have already copied it. Now let's see how we can also use the copy. Now let's see how we can use what the copied. Now we can use the copy like this. Then we can also use it like this dot copy. We can use it like dot copy. So it's still the same thing. It's still the same thing. It will still copy it for us. So I believe you understand what we have done so far.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Uh, Favor. I hope you understand what we have done so far. Hello. Okay.
I can
Now,
hear you.
yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
So let's move on. Okay, let's call it a day, though. Let's call it a day. Let's what? Call it a day. So on our next class, we are going we are going to look at set operation. Set what? Operation. We are going to look at set operation where we have the union, update, intersect, difference, symmetric difference, and all. So we are going to see all that, and we are going to work on it. So on Friday we are going to meet again, and we are going to see and move further. So let's move on. Okay, and so let's call it a day. Good night.
Good night, sir. Akira Jola. Favor. Favor Akira Jola.
But it didn't happen overnight. And one day, I just completely lost it. I found myself saying I wanted a God that moves. Later that night, he whispered he wanted a child that spent time with him, to desire him more than this world. I was choosing comfort over Christ, feeding my flesh, not my faith. The enemy didn't need to destroy me, just distract me. But God called me back. You don't lose your fire all at once. You trade it one distraction at a time. But it's not too late to wake up.
Favor.